Shit, no coffee. Hello and welcome to Newbie Farm, episode 2. This is the continuation of the test for the changes that I made on seasons, which was basically the cows reproducing during the spring, summer and autumn, and grass being grown by 3 times a year. And the grass was ready on day 7 of the summer, but I decided not to do it until today because I was busy doing other things on day 7, and some of those things we might get to see. But basically I sold a lot of equipment. It was costing me too much on the upkeep due to its age, and I took out the maximum loan and got some equipment. Some of it's leased, some of it's purchased. The good thing is though that I can now do square bales. I'm not a big fan of the round bales. The stopping and starting all the time is annoying. But hopefully this yield will be good enough. Well, it doesn't matter if it is good enough or not, because obviously I'll get one more cut. But hopefully it's good enough to at least warrant about 50 bales, because then that will certainly mean that this field on its own on one cut would be enough to sustain the current herd for the duration of one season easily. But with the modification that I've done to the reproduction of cattle, it wouldn't do 2 seasons, or most of 2 seasons. On the default seasons mod, you wouldn't need 2 grass fields, certainly not. But this also means that I'm doing a lot more during the course of a season, due to the fact that right now I'd have done my first cut and I would be basically waiting for the crops to grow before the second cut would be even possible. So this having the ability to do a cut now means that I'm not racing later on, because in default settings I would have done my first cut on grass would have been early summer, day 2 or so of summer, as later day 2 or 3 of summer basically, and my second cut would have been somewhere in mid to late autumn, which would have meant that the final part of the season would have been much more hectic, a lot more rushing around trying to get things done, because that's when also the crops are grown and ready to harvest, is like early to mid autumn, unless I have winter crops, in which case they're ready to go a bit earlier. This isn't going to be wide enough to reach over there, is it? No. Okay. The it's becoming a bit more difficult to stay out of the editor, admittedly. There's the more I watch and do things and listen to people, the more I want to jump into the editor, because there's things that I was meant to have done that I completely forgot. Oof, that wasn't good. We've got to come back down this side anyway. The should have gone onto the right, I know, but I decided to make things a little bit more harder for myself by, you know, shifting over to the other windrow as opposed to the one I should have gone on. The changes that I keep indicating I need to make are the changes I've always made public. The church being one of them. The no. In fact, we'll just do it. Forget it. There's some terrain fixes that I need to make. There's some foliage areas that need to be fixed, and field 4 I'm definitely going to put a hedge around now, because it's back when it was just a grass, partially a field with forest, well, with poplars at the opposite end of it, at the other end of it. You didn't need anything, but now that the whole of that area around that lake is field, it makes sense for there to be a hedge around it, and it'll just tidy it up and it'll make it a little bit more tighter, which is always a good thing. So yeah, later today we'll be doing Project Cars 2, which is always fun. That will be starting, UK time will be, I'm guessing, 6 PM because of our clocks going back, which will be still remaining at BP's time of 2 PM. I don't know if it's next week that the clocks in the US are adjusted. I'm not sure. I have to check with BP. Could be next week or partially through the week after. I do know that it makes things a little bit more challenging for us UK people who do streams with Americans, because for me personally 6 PM is when I'm, you know, my kids don't go to bed until 7, so yeah. But it's a race, and I love racing. Anyone who watches my channel will know that racing is definitely something that I love to do, and I take it quite serious. I always have. I don't claim to be the best, I'm nowhere near the best, but I always try to... I go into the race with the intentions of winning, and if I don't win, I get beaten, then, you know, it's more satisfying for me, because then it means that I've got a lot more that I can learn. If I win the race and it's a close victory, then it's even more satisfying in that it was a close victory. I've always had the fact that I don't mind losing and coming last, for example, as long as I have a good battle at some point during the race, and that still stands to this day. But at the same time, I don't go into a race expecting to lose. No racer does, really. Doesn't matter how much they might say that they don't care if they win or lose. Deep down they want to win. A true racer does, anyway. And that's, you know, that was something I used to do religiously, was just race. I didn't do anything else but race, and I got out of that. And maybe one day, maybe when the kids are a bit older, I might go and do some more league racing. Actually, I may as well get this bit here, because I do want maximum possibilities off this field. Where's that other windrow? Oh, here. The good news is Marty will be there, so I think I can't remember if we've ever raced, or at least if I've ever been in a race with Marty. So if I haven't, then it'll make it for much more entertaining, because there will be another person. You know, the more of us there is, the better. Makes for a lot more interesting races, and if Tony's there as well, then that's another added bonus. He'll kick our asses, but it'll still make for an entertaining race. Or races, because no doubt we'll do multiple race events and different cars for most of them, as we always do. You know, for a few of us that used to do racing on a more serious note, you know, we used to be stuck in one class of car, and it's nice to be racing different kinds of cars and just separating the game into a more fun packed than anything else. And what we'll do is we'll leave that there, and then when we come to doing the edge, the headland, we'll finish it off. It looks like it's going to be a really good yield. The windrows are nice and high. Yeah, perfect. So we should definitely get quite a few hay bales. I'm hoping for, like I said, 50 bales would definitely be nice. This field has a couple of areas that need smoothing out desperately, There's been a few misclicks there. So the pre-field 4 has already been done. That was a silage field. Basically, I'd already done this field and field 4 originally as silage bales, but I decided to do field 3 second cut as loose silage, basically just the grass being raked and then picked up with a forage wagon and dumped into the silage pit. And it's currently fermenting, so that will come in useful later on in the year. And when that will most likely be used just to fill up the mixing station that I've placeable that I've purchased. So mostly because that means that I have to add straw into the mix as well. It means that straw is more critical than on the default game settings. Because for this game, Giants had changed the recipe from having to use a straw bale to having not to, just grass hay and hay and silage bales are the only things that you need now. But I still prefer the old method for doing it, because it means, especially with seasons, because it means that I still need a lot more straw bales. And because it would take a lot more, the herd would have to be a lot bigger before straw bales would become much more of an important factor. We've hardly broken into the straw bales that we started with, so I guess we'll see in the winter how many we get through. and that'll give us a better representation as to where we're going in the future. I know we'll get through a lot more silage bales, and I'm expecting to have at least 70 cows come the end of the season. I'm enjoying seasons. I do admit that. It's a nice slower pace, but there was some things that just needed to be changed, and I hope that the dev team do make those changes. Maybe not the ones that I've done, but do make some kind of changes to make seasons a bit more interesting. I was talking to David, Farmer Dad, yesterday about seasons, and saying that it would be nice to have months. Stupid camera. As opposed to spring, summer, autumn and winter, the 4 seasons. I'd rather have January, February, March, April, all the way through all 12 months, because then, you know, they could have it that at some point, like has happened now in some places, the slurry ban is coming into effect in some places, or will be in others, and so there's a lot of farmers that are rushing to get their fields mucked before the ban comes into effect. Something I didn't know was a thing, but as I've learned, and looking at 1 second. Sorry about that. Looking at a website, there's that gave a more in-depth information on how farms, what farmers do through each month of the year. You know, it would make sense for seasons to run on a monthly basis as opposed to a seasonally basis. You know, each quarter is nice, but I would rather have months. At least then I could say, you know, September I'm going to be pulling in my last my wheat crop fields are going to be harvested. And oh, I missed this one here, this windrow. Never mind. Be interesting to see how the baler sees that windrow, because it's being mixed in with the dry grass. It would make for a much more interesting seasons mod, and I know most likely Giants won't have incorporated seasons within 19 as much as I'd like it to be a thing. They probably haven't done it, but when and if they do in one of their future games, hopefully they do it within a monthly basis as well. As it stands right now, seasons, as good as it is, it's very basic in terms of its functionality. It's a great mod, don't get me wrong. It definitely adds a lot more, and it certainly slows the pace of the game down to a much more realistic feel. And it's something that we've been crying out for years, and even more so now that soil mod isn't, unfortunately, a thing in 17. But it still needs autosave. It still needs a lot more, and a lot more could certainly be done to it to make it much more functional and enjoyable. I know that some people don't want full realism, but I'd rather have much more realism than how it is right now. On a on a 3-day season, it would minimum would have to be no, you could still do a 3-day season, but how it'd be set up would, if it was a month, ran as months as opposed to seasons. You know, the first quarter, January, February, March would be 1 day. Well, every month would be a 1 day. If you ran on a 6-day, then every 2 days would be 1 month, and so on. You know, it would be a lot more functional. You wouldn't be sitting there going, well, what is mid to late spring? What part of the calendar does that fall under? And the way that seasons is coded could be made to function a lot more accurately, and meaning that you could have a lot more to do through the season, especially if you're working with animals. And people wouldn't be running as many factory scripts or needing to run as many factory scripts. And for multiplayer it means that there'd be a lot more to do as well. So there we go. Nice nice windrows. I guess we will now find out how well the yield is. I mean, personally it looks like it's a really good yield. And let's get the show on the road then. If I do more videos, they'd probably be silent videos, because as you can tell I don't really have much to say within the videos. I haven't got that confidence yet. I come into these and it's like, I have 1,000 things I could talk about. As soon as I hit the record button now, I'd forget what they was. And 2 sentences in and I'm struggling as to what to say, what to talk about. And it doesn't help with the fact that I'm actually tired right now. Don't think I had a good night's sleep. Hope everybody had a good day yesterday though, being Halloween and all, Hope you all had fun. And those who went trick-or-treating, hopefully it was enjoyable for you guys. Those of us who close the curtains, lock the door, turn the lights off, turn the TV on and avoid everything, hopefully you didn't get disturbed too often. I know we didn't. We don't do trick-or-treating, and I won't get into my reasons as to why I close the curtains, lock the door, etc. But we do, and well, in actual fact we was out doing most of the Halloween, or at least a few hours of the Halloween, of the evening rather. And so by the time we got back, a lot of the kids, younger kids who would have been trick-or-treating would have gone home, satisfied with what they had got, and the fact that they have school the following day. Unless you're in Ireland where it's a bank holiday, then you don't have to worry about school the following day. I personally thought it was a bank holiday in England, I convinced myself it was, and as a result overslept when and my eldest missed his cab So yeah, that was fun. You might start to see a few Minecraft videos. I can't say for sure. You might see some Factorio videos. I think I will try and spread Farm Sim out a bit, so I don't try and keep to my avoid the editor thing, until at least I'm back in the editor working on Beyond Home. Until I'm actually back in the editor, I think I'm going to reduce the amount of hours that I'm putting into testing seasons and working on other games as opposed to this, or playing other games as opposed to this one. I keep saying things like working on other games, people start thinking I'm a modder. And don't want people thinking that. This is going really well. Much better than I thought it would. I said about 50 bales I was hoping for. I'm not sure how many we've done. I haven't been keeping check, and unfortunately the bale counter mod for 15 doesn't work in 17. Causes I think it was a Lewis stack error. Or something. I know it caused some kind of error in the log, and anyone who knows me knows that if there's an error in the log, whatever's causing it goes. I don't care for anything like that. I won't put up with it, especially if it's going to be in this safe game where I'm planning on continuing this even after 19's come out, so that I can take my time with the port of Newbie Farm. Let's just have a look, see how many bales it says that we've done so far. 36. Okay, maybe not. Might be close doing 50. Might have been expecting a little too much. There's still quite a few windrows to go though, so we might hit that 50. If I know if BP was here, he'd have made a very accurate estimation. Unfortunately, I do not have that ability, and then obviously that will come with experience. The more you work a particular field, the more you'll understand what your average bale count will be from that field. But then BP can do it on maps that he hasn't played before, and state that this is how many bales will roughly come from it, and it tends to be correct. So there's that. I'm still confident that we'll get about 50 bales. Anything over that would be a bonus. Below that though, although anything over 40 bales would be more than enough. But I'd rather have more than not enough, or just enough. And as it stands at the moment, 10 bales extra for me is a lot for people with huge herds that 10 bales is nothing. Extra 10 bales is like, you know, maybe half a day's food or something. And when I get close to the cattle herd size that I want, you will see cow reproduction completely switched off. I'll just edit the seasons XML file again and make it so cows cannot reproduce, or slow their reproduction levels back down to so it's only during the summer. And whilst doing all of this, I'm also keeping an eye on milk production, because we can also adjust that, so I might end up playing with that at some point. And when I've got a much better understanding of everything, how much milk roughly is produced by X amount of cows, then the modifications can be made to base those findings on a more accurate, realistic figure. Because we all know that default milk production is a lot higher than it should be. But on a side note, the new DLC is coming out soon. That's, oh well, bales again flung out now. BP did say that this baler for some reason starts playing up when you keep running bales through it for so long. It has a tendency to mess up. But the new DLC will come out, will hit soon, and that's something I'm looking forward to. See what I mean by some places need smoothing out on the field. That was one of them. It's just small areas that you don't see in the editor because A, it's covered in foliage, and B, unless you're close to the ground and looking down the field as you move around, you won't see it. So basically I'll just put the brush on wide and just smooth it out. And there's a couple of spaces at the farm area that need to be done. One in the mountain that definitely needs to be done. And I'll go and pick up any loose grass I can find just to get this last bale out. Anything that's left sitting on the floor can stay there, then I don't particularly need to worry about that. That's the one thing I do like about seasons, is anything that's left out will eventually go. I don't like the fact that on baling the fruit type keeps changing, so you lose what your percentage is. That's one thing that does annoy me with this. I would have much preferred it if they'd had it not do that. And there we go. Let's just kick these bales out. And we'll take this and the and the tedder back to the farm and bring the trailer up. And we'll just drop this here a second while we collect the tedder. And hopefully Oh, how many bales did we get? 66. Wow, that was impressive. 16 bales more than I was hoping for. Damn. Why is it the trailer can fit 18? That's what, four journeys, 4 trips. No, 3, yeah, 4 trips. So, definitely going to have enough hay bales to last the whole season and through most of next season. So that means that, although we will be doing the third and final cut as well, which will all be hay bales. No, in fact, one field will be hay bales, the next field, no, it'll all be hay bales rather. Will it actually? No, my bad. It will all be, the one field will be hay and the other field will be some hay but also some grass, loose grass picked up with the forage wagon and put into the mixing station, just filling that back up to last through the winter and early spring as much as possible anyway. And how close are these crops to being ready? Okay. So basically, if these was winter crops that have been harvestable, from day 6 onwards, but because these are summer crops, they're not ready. That's kind of sucking, but that can go in there. What's in that one? Okay. Once the fields have been harvested, cultivated and reseeded, I'll probably sell the cultivator and seeder and just lease in those as and when I need them. That does not help when your camera goes on the other side of the shed. Can't see a thing. Don't know if you saw as we was reversing, but the cow barn isn't showing the layer for these for the bedding for the straw. It was during the spring, but now that it's summer and the cows don't need as much, it doesn't show it. That's due to the straw plane being slightly further below the ground than it should be. Without Seasons mod you wouldn't have noticed that, but with Seasons mod it's more noticeable, so that needs to be adjusted, because it's something that will bug me, even though this version isn't for 17 anyway, it's more for 19. It won't be released on 17 until 19 is due for release. I would still like it to function correctly, so that when it is released I don't need to worry about this needs fixing or that needs fixing. And what I will probably do is just load one trailer load of bales and then end the video. We don't want round bales. That will do. Was thinking about putting some kind of speed trap in the village that automatically slows you down to 15 miles per hour, but I thought, you know, it would bug too many people. I'd have much preferred something like a speed camera that had a chance of catching you. It was a 50-50 if you got caught on that speeding. Whoa, that's better. I hadn't turned the work area on. Forgot you have to press it twice in this trailer. But I think what we'll do is we'll collect as many bales from this side of the field, this end, and then work our way back towards the exit. I know this is cheating, but when you I don't get a lot of time to play Newbie Farm or any farm sim, to be honest. Although, contrary to belief, I didn't have my head in the editor all day every day, even though that would be hard to believe due to the fact that how often I could release a new copy of Newbie Farm. When I'm in the editor, I can be pretty fast at doing what I need to get done. And that comes through years of working within the editor, so knowing exactly what I need to do and knowing this map inside and out. But it's the first load, and you'll see where these are. Well, you know where they're going, but you'll see the mixing station placeable that I've purchased. And realistically, we should have been driving in cab view for this, but it'd have made more sense. And I don't need to worry about fuel yet. The aim is to purchase field 7 at some point. No rush yet. That's field 7 will be purchased ahead of schedule. I'm pretty confident that the fields that I've got now will easily produce enough straw to do at least 2 seasons of cow reproduction at the level that I'm getting right now. But the season after that, I would certainly need field 7. So that could become a thing. So most of these round bales will get dropped into the or all of these bales will get dropped into the mixing station that's just behind us. which we can't see anymore, just over there, and all of our silage bales, which will last us through the winter. I need it to turn a bit more. It's the problem with the cameras, they center around. I think that might be a bit too far. That'll do. So yeah, basically I'm just going to bring all the bales up here, drop them into here. Definitely a nice amount of bales can be stored in here. Which is perfect, and unfortunately with seasons you can wrap hay bales, so and they'll stay as hay bales. So if I needed to, I could build another, I could put a placeable, cut all these trees down, put a placeable shed here, and have storage for straw bales there. And put another placeable shed up at the bale storage area for more straw bales if I needed extra hay bales storage. Don't think I will. Plus we've got the shed over at the pig zone as well that we could use. We will see though. So anyway, I think I'll end it here, and thank you for watching, and hopefully you join us on the stream later tonight. It will be definitely a lot of fun. And all links to everybody's channel for the Monkey Show, all members, their links are within my channel, so definitely be sure to go and check those out. But until episode 3, whenever that will be, I hope you have a good time, hope you enjoy the video, and I will catch you all again. See ya.